Oh, this is such an amazing place. I'm always, um, my first reaction is I'm always astounded by the level of the players because most of them are straight out of school, and and it's really, world class artists, and that's the greatest fun of all, to be on stage with 100 great musicians. But there's also a general feeling, which I think has to do, with the place and with the people running the place and with Maestro Michael Tilson Thomas, that is just so conducive to art and to music making and to, yeah, to what we do, and it's a very special place. And I'm very much looking forward to being there, to rehearsals, to concerts, and just to hanging out with everybody. This is sort of an ongoing project for me for a few seasons, and honestly, it's just an excuse to play some of my favorite violin concertos. But putting my personal preferences aside, it is this amazing coincidence that many great composers composed concertos for violin at the same time. I read this list to a friend a couple of months back, and he said, "Gil, you've just named all the great composers of the 20th century," and it's maybe 90% is accurate. Between 1931 and 1939, so not even the decade of the 30s, but just those 8 years, you have violin concertos by Igor Stravinsky and Sergei Prokofiev and Alban Berg and Arnold Schoenberg and Paul Hindemith and Bela Bartok and William Walton and Benjamin Britten, Darius Milhaud, Roger Sessions, Karl Amadeus Hartmann, Karl Szymanowski, and I'm leaving out many, Ernst Bloch. And this is a curious coincidence because um, the violin concerto as a form, as a genre, wasn't particularly popular, in the 20s or with the great masters before. If you think of Debussy or Ravel or Gershwin, they never wrote a violin concerto. And for some reason, within those 8 years, um, there was this incredible confluence of concerti. And I find it to be very thought provoking, and it's amazing to think of these works as a whole. It's a little bit like standing in a gallery and looking, from one masterpiece to another. And yeah, when I played one of these concertos in Washington with the National Symphony, a very eloquent patron of the orchestra came backstage, and I'm paraphrasing. He spoke much better than I do, and he said, "Gil, the 1930s was a unique time in history. It was a time when people felt, as if on the edge of a volcano. People lived with tumult and trepidation, and they were waiting for the volcano to erupt. How is that reflected in the music of the time? How does that relate to our times? And how does that relate to the music of our times?" And, I don't know. I think they're all great questions, and I find it very thought provoking. Um, but it's been an amazing trip playing these pieces and sort of listening to people's reactions. Adele and I, we learned over the years, but also we were very lucky that we started working very young, so that when we had kids and after we got married, we were able to work a lot less. And yeah, I think when my son Elijah was born, I cut back to about a third of what I was doing before, and I play about 50 concerts a year, and as much as I can around New York. And we both of us find that we enjoy our music that much more now because we're lucky to be part of a very close family. We feel that we're lucky to be part of a very close family. And when we go into our room and study a score or practice, it's more special for us. It's sort of that this is my time. This is my thing. I'm going to go now and practice for an hour. I'm going to go listen to some music or study a score. It's a great joy, and with my wife and I, that's our favorite thing to do, to play concerts together, to play Bach double or to play chamber music. Um, but we rarely get to do it. So in a way, it's even more special. And the same is true for my sister Orly. I guess when we grow up, we kind of end up being busy, and everybody has families and work. And now when we play together, that's really the time that we get to spend together. So we try to schedule as much musical activity together as we can. And I guess the next recording that we'll release will be a recording Orly and I made of concert music based on Jewish folk music. This was a movement that started around 1900, and I guess originally in Russia and in Eastern Europe, with composers like Joseph Akron, but something that's continued throughout the 20th century and now into the 21st century too. So it's about a little more than an hour's worth of music. We commissioned a brand new work from composer Avner Dorman called Nigunim for violin and piano, which we're so excited about. It's just an electrifying piece, and we're thrilled about it. And anyway, that will be our next release. With this Prokofiev concerto that we're going to play in Miami, or with any of the myriad of masterpieces that we have, I always feel, there's no wrong way to approach it. It's like a great sculpture. If you look at it from a million different angles, you always learn, you always find something to appreciate, and I think that's true with all these great pieces that we're lucky to play. I've always been lucky enough to play music that I love. This particular concerto is one piece where my thoughts of it have really changed over the years. I think nowadays I see it, maybe as more of a slightly darker piece than I did before. And I don't know, maybe I read some articles about Prokofiev as a social commentator, as a political commentator, and maybe I see some of that in this piece. And I mean, I think with these great pieces, they can easily fill up a lifetime. I don't foresee them, losing my interest anytime soon. To be continued.